So hello everyone, today I'm going to review my Studio 86 Devastator. I'm also going to show you guys how to combine all 6 of your Constructicons to form Devastator. Alright, so to get your Constructicons to form Devastator, first thing you want to do is to get them into phase 2, meaning their vehicular modes. So these are all the Constructicons in their vehicle modes. We got Scrapper, Scavenger, Long Haul, Hook, Bone Crusher, and Mixmaster, all in their vehicle modes. So that's phase 2. So let's start with Devastator's arms. So you got Scavenger and Bone Crusher. Scavenger is the right arm, Bone Crusher is the left. So let's start off with Scavenger. So what you want to do is, fold his power shovel, split his tracks, and you gotta extend this part. In robot mode, this is his body, but in his arm mode, this becomes Devastator's forearm. So you just extend that piece out like so. If you notice, there's a little piece that you can unhook here, and you can lower down this, so you actually combine those. So that becomes his arm. So this is Devastator's arm over here. Fold this one up. And in the trailer of Long Haul, you could bring out one of these pieces. It looks like a rocket launcher, but it's actually Devastator's hand. So let's put these aside. Devastator's forearms and hands. So this is his inner forearm. You gotta just unhook that. And oh, this one's the left one, so I'm gonna get the other one for the right. So you just gotta unhook it. Left or right? Oh, I was correct with this one. This was the left one, right? So this is his right arm. I mean, you turn this one all around. You slide this in. So there's a hole over here. It fits in the peg under here. So just gotta connect that, and now you got Devastator's right arm. That's pretty cool. This one was the left hand after all, the left outer forearm. Same thing with Bone Crusher. You turn him upside down, you split him by the tracks, you pull out this part. You pull this part out, you tilt one of his feet, so you close them back in, and this thing's got 2 tabs, 2 holes. You just make sure they connect. So you got his forearm. Same thing, there's a hole, there's a peg inside the forearm. So this is his inner forearm, this is his outer forearm. You connect it, and there you got Devastator's left hand. So let's get it in frame. You got both his arms ready. So if you notice, there are these slots here. That's how it connects into the body. So I'll show that to you later. So we got Devastator's arms done. Now let's get to Devastator's feet. So for his feet, we got the team captain, Scrapper, and we got the chemist, Mixmaster. So let's start off with Mixmaster. So to transform Mixmaster, you just flip the entire front panel, you detach it, just detaches like that. If you know this, yeah, just gotta, let's do that again. Just gotta work your way to detach it like so, and uncurl it. There's this joint over here, and then you can just line up the tabs with some of these, line up these tabs with these holes, and it fits in like so. Snap it into place, and you got 1 foot down. Detach his little forearms, his robot forearms rather. So just gotta detach them like so. And if you notice, you could kind of work this to tilt it. So yeah, that's for articulation later, but you could tilt it so Devastator can stand. And that's pretty much it. You got 1 foot Now as for the other foot, Scrapper, just gotta take a shovel and angle it like so, kind of forms a foot. Be sure to, this part over here clamps down there for stability. Then you take his robot forearms and you turn them down like so. Just detach them from this part and turn them down, and you kind of see the makings of his foot. Collapse them in, lock them into place, and well, you more or less got one foot going. Be sure to detach well, you got his little, later on you're going to twist this here. This part splits and he connects later on, so you're going to do that later, but more or less this is ready. You already got yourself his foot, and it extends like so. That's pretty cool. Alright, so next up we got Scrapper. So for Scrapper, you just gotta raise his shovel up like so. Be sure this piece is clamped here for stability. And what you want to do is you want to detach this part, his robot arms, and swing them all the way down. Do that on the other side, detach them, whoops, and swing them all the way down. Be sure they're in this L-shaped, because this is more or less this is his heel as Devastator. So collapse them in, and you more or less got a foot. Detach this and save this for later on, because we're gonna connect him into long haul later on. But how it goes down is this one splits in half, and you attach long haul's foot, and you turn this, so this thing sort of locks it into place. But we're gonna save that for later. Next up, let's transform his lower body. So I put aside his limbs, and right now I got his lower body. So we've got the trailer and long haul. So long haul forms Devastator's upper torso, while this is Devastator's pelvis and lower torso. So let's start off with his lower torso. So what you want to do with this is detach these wings and detach this bottom part over here. Yeah, later on you guys kind of have an idea, but this is Devastator's chest, but I'll put them aside first. Alright, so once you detach those, detach this part, just pull out this entire section. Then if you notice, you got this. This is Devastator's. Actually, this is his butt. So what we want to do is detach these panels in the bottom. These things go up, and these are his skirts. So more or less, you can see that this is actually Devastator's lower torso, and turn it upside down, and that's it. That's the orientation. Raise these pieces up, because that's going to connect into long haul later. Then what you want to do is you want to tidy up this entire panel sort of collapses into itself, and lower that down, and well, you more or less got Devastator's bottom half. So that's his lower torso. Let's get long haul over here. Just detach long haul's dump truck part, sort of. Yeah, just pull that part out. Take his arms, detach them, flip them up. What you want to do is, yeah, this part over here, this peg has to meet this hole, so you just got to angle it in such a way that that happens. So twist it to make sure that that hole over here folds into this peg. So there we go, and connect it. So you got this part going on. Make sure this is lined up here, that peg to that hole. So do the same on the other arm. So what I did again is, once this thing is flipped up, this peg fold this down. This peg has to meet this hole, so you just gotta angle it so you could fold it. So once again, line those up, line up the pegs and holes. There. So more or less you have long holes. Upper body. Angle this down like so. Oh, not this. This entire half. So you have this formation going on. Detach his roof. And extend it. There. Alright, so next up, let's do long haul. So long haul is going to form Devastator's abs, sort of his midsection. So I'm just going to get this part out of the way. Just unfold this part, and what you want to do is you want to detach his arms. So just detach these parts over here, flip them. Yeah, flip them up. And what you want to do is you want this peg to meet this hole, so you just gotta angle it in such a way that it does that, and you gotta lower this down and you flip it, and be mindful that there are some tabs. So once you make those parts meet, be sure that this slot over here, this tab goes into this slot. So just gotta work it. And more or less, it's supposed to, the finished product's supposed to look like this. It's got these connections because they're going to connect the hook later on. So do the same with the other arm of long hole. Just untab it. There. Collapse it. Then be sure to twist it in such a way that this meets this, and once you get those to meet, tab it here, so you're left with something that looks like this. The wheels are out on the side with these connection points. Then as for his lower body, just collapse these parts over here. Disconnect his roof and fold it. So let's show you what I did again. It was originally like this, so you just disconnect it and fold it. If you notice, there are these two slots. The purpose of this is to meet his little robot heels. So flip these over and make sure to line them up to those slots. So you more or less have long haul. And what you want to do is, if you notice, there are these little grooves in the bottom. They meet up with this. So yeah, these slots, these little pegs go into these slots. So you just gotta work your way, push it in gently, and there you go. More or less, you got the makings of Devastator. And these little slots over here, these little square, these holes over here, you line them up to this. They're supposed to connect, and there. So you got this entire part locked in. So trailer plus long haul equals a big chunk of Devastator's body, his midsection plus his legs. So we're gonna put this aside. Now we're gonna do hook. Here's hook. So hook forms the shoulders of Devastator. Yeah. So before we do that, let's get these parts that we disconnected a while ago. Let's connect the wings. So the wings connect into these holes over here. There we go. Just connect both sides. Set this aside. You're going to use this later on. It's going to come in handy later on. This is Devastator's chest. So before that, let's work on Devastator's upper body. So what you want to do is detach his arms and detach this part, because it's kind of locking his body into place. You could pull this out if it gets in the way. It's up to you. But what you want to do is once this is disconnected and these four arms are disconnected, you raise this up, which reveals Devastator's head. So his head kind of looks like it's been punched in, but you just flip it and bring it out so his head looks, you know, more normal. And if you notice here, this reveals now this joint. So what you want to do is you kind of want to unfurl or disconnect it, stretch it out. So more or less you got an idea how it's going to go. You disconnect this part as well and you move it all the way to this corner. Because what's going to happen here is you can now connect these two halves, which kind of forms Devastator's chest. Just snap them in place like so. Make sure this thing is connected. And if you notice, there are some slots here. There are some slots here, I mean, and some pegs, protrusions. So just line that up, and that way you could connect Devastator's head, turn it around, and you got his shoulder. So you more or less got that one done. Yeah. Close up his little fist here. Put this one up here, close this up, and more or less you got put these things back in place. You'll more or less have Devastator's upper body. So up next, you go back to this body. You could actually attach, there are these little grooves over here. You can clamp on this chest piece. So that kind of locks into place, but yeah, you can clamp it on like that. And afterwards, you could kind of guide this part up here to this. So if you notice, there are a bunch of holes and, you know, these connection points, various connection points. These little holes and these little protrusions are connection points. So I almost forgot, Hook's got this connection point that you flip out in his chest. So you're just gonna work it through. So this smokestack connects to this hole, this smokestack connects to this hole, etc. This chest protrusion connects to this hole. So you just gotta line it up. Let's see if I can get it in frame. He's kind of a big boy, but you could line it up. Be sure this one is flipped downward, and just make sure all the connection points meet. Don't forget this slot in this peg from his Hook's hand. So just gotta connect it, guide it in, make sure everything connects properly, make sure every tab meets its corresponding hole. And let's try to get the camera a little bit farther since Devastator is a big boy. That's more or less it. Raise this entire part. If you notice, it also has some slots that can connect to these little protrusions, and that locks it into place. And you more or less have Devastator. You could reconnect Hook's crane. Yeah. And by the way, don't forget to flip out these little parts. These are connections for his arms later on. So you flip that one out. This one, it's hidden underneath his cab, but you swing that one out. So you got those connection points later on. So more or less, you got Devastator. And now we're going to connect his limbs. So, as mentioned, to connect his limbs, for Hook, oh, my mistake, for Scrapper, you slide it in here. So, you just got to get this lower half and slide it like so. And afterwards, you connect this half. That locks it into place. So you got that limb going, it's connected. And this part was previously like this. You swing it and you reconnect it, because these little holes meet this tab. These little holes meet these little tabs. It locks it into place. And there, you got one leg down, locked into place. And as mentioned, you can tilt him this way. Kind of give him some stability. He's got that little tilt. These are like his ankles. So you got that one done. And you do the same for Mixmaster. For Mixmaster, you flip this over, and if you notice there's something here that kind of looks like a slot, because you're going to slide this one in. You're going to slide this part into this section here. You're going to slide this section into this slot. Slide it in. Once it's in there, you close this cement mixer half, the cement mixer part, to lock it into place. And you got another leg. Now, you just gotta adjust the ankle rocker to your liking. It's on a ratchet, but you could adjust it to your liking to make sure Devastator's feet are firmly planted in the ground. So there we go. More or less, we got his feet done. This is Longhole's pistol. So it forms the toe part. You connect it in one of these holes on Mixmaster's bumper, and that forms sort of a toe. You could do without it if you wish, but you know, I saw it in the instructions, I might as well put it. It forms his toe. Now we're going to do his arms. So as mentioned, there were these slots over here, and you could lower this down again because it's going to connect. These little tabs here are going to connect to the tracks. So lower that down, and from there just slide the arms into place. You slide it into place, locks into place. There we go. And if you notice, there's a little tab here on the back, so make sure this one is fit in one of the slots in the tracks there. Do the same for Bone Crusher. Just slide it in. By the way, just detach this power shovel because you need more room. So just slide that in. There. Fold the power shovel like so. Just like with the other side, make sure that this little tab goes into the hole in the track for extra security. And now it's just a matter of flipping this chest piece and lining up every tab and slot to every tab and hole on the upper part. So these protrusions meet these slots to lock it. And there he is. That's Devastator in all his glory. You just gotta fit in his gun, and that's pretty much complete. But this is Devastator, so pretty impressive looking guy. Very lovely robot. And he's pretty sturdy, if I might add, and quite heavy. I'm not really so good in estimating his weight. I can say he's over 2 pounds for sure, maybe 4 pounds, I don't know. He seems kind of hefty and heavy, and he's pretty secure. Nothing is loose. It's just locked into place. So that's Devastator combined. So here is Devastator in all of his glory combined. Looks pretty neat. There he is. There. That's a good look at him. He's got a nice shade of green. There's that little gun of Longhaul. In the show, Devastator's leg doesn't really look like a cement mixer. It kind of doesn't have the carburetor in the show, and it kind of has a wedge for a toe. So I guess this attaching Longhaul's gun kind of makes it look like that with that wedge. Though it looks kind of weird to me, so I'd probably remove it. But you always have the option to put it in. Devastator from the front view, very massive. He really looks like a massive guy, like a bodybuilder. I mean, I've got the downsized Kubian, who's very lean and tall. This guy looks like more squat and like a bodybuilder, so that's him from the front view, very massive. Here he is from the left side, Bone Crusher side. Looks pretty awesome from the top. Let's take a look at his back. There. Nice shade of green. His dump truck bed isn't hollowed out. It doesn't really bother me too much. Of course, when I think it's a dump truck, it's supposed to be hollowed out, but you know, looks pretty good. So that's him from the rear. Yeah. And let's look at him from this side. the right side, scavenger side. There he is. Overall, pretty awesome figure when he's all put together, and he is heavy. It's a pretty heavy figure. I'd say he's maybe a pound, or maybe a pound and a half, but yeah. And he's very stable, he's not wobbly. I mean, he really stays in place. Nothing's really loose about it. So, yeah, pretty awesome figure overall. I really like him. He's a pretty big guy. I'll show you guys the articulation, but at least I got him all in frame. Well, you could turn his head all around. That's pretty much it for head articulation. You can spread his arm out about this far. His arm can also go all around. It's not ratcheted. Also, from below the bicep, you can also turn around his forearm. Single jointed elbow. You can turn his hand all around. And his entire fingers are on this joint. He has a waist swivel. Kind of gets impeded by the back part of his, his trailer parts. He can do the splits this far. His entire leg is on a ratchet, which is pretty good for stability. He's got a thigh cut. He's on a single jointed knee. And you can also bend him at the ankle. So overall, he's pretty articulate considering his size. It's enough to do some pretty good poses. And, you know, the articulation's good for me because Devastator is a big hulking guy. You don't really expect him to be super agile, though he did that sidekick in the movie. But the articulation is good enough to get him into some pretty neat poses. So here is Devastator, all combined. He's about 13 inches tall. So here's a bit of a measurement over here. He's about, I reckon, 13 inches. 12 and a half, 13 inches tall. Like I mentioned, he is kind of heavy. Though, I can't really tell how heavy it is. I reckon he's definitely more than a pound. Maybe, I don't know, 3 pounds or 2 pounds? I can't really tell, but he is heavy. He is substantially heavier. For a sense of scale, here he is next to Leader Class Grimlock. In dinosaur mode, he pretty much comes up at hand height or gun height, which is pretty accurate for me because in one of the episodes in Heavy Metal War, Grimlock took a bite at his gun and Devastator pretty much swung him away. So I think this is a good scale. Here he is next to my Earthrise Optimus Prime. I remember that episode when Optimus found out that the Decepticons cheated, that Megatron cheated, absorbed the powers of the other Decepticons. It appeared he shot Devastator in the crotch and Devastator disassembled, but that's pretty much Earthrise Prime next to Studio Series Devastator. Here's Devastator next to my Cool Become Brave Kubian. As you can see, he's a little bit taller. I reckon Cool Become Brave Kubian Devastator, which is a third-party Devastator, a downscaled version of the Combiner Wars Devastator, is around 12 inches tall. So, as you can see, Studio 86 Devastator is taller and beefier. Kubian looks longer limbed, especially in the legs, but Devastator's got better joints, so that's them side by side. So the Combiner Wars Devastator has the same proportions as Kubian. Kubian's a downsized version. And for another sense of scale, here he is next to my high-grade Psycho Gundam. Devastator is still taller and much heavier. So yeah, Devastator is about 13 and a half inches, so that gives you more or less his scale. So back when I was a kid, Devastator was a toy I always wanted to complete. I had some Generation 2 Devastator parts. First one I got, if I remember right, was Hook. After Hook, I got Bone Crusher. Then I was able to get Mixmaster, but I wasn't able to get the entire bunch, the entire group. So my G2 Devastator, which is color orange, was never complete. So I never got myself a mainline Devastator until now. This is the only time I was able to complete one. I did have a Cool Become Brave Cubian Devastator, who was a pretty good stand-in for its time. And I like that figure too. I like the scale. I like that it's in the deluxe scale, that they downsized the Combiner Wars Devastator. This guy is a little bit bigger and bulkier, and looks more imposing, and I love this Devastator. So it's pretty cool that I finally got to complete him. Growing up, my favorite Combiner was Predaking, because I remember seeing a lot of Season 3 episodes. And I guess I was too young to fully appreciate Season 2. But when I started rewatching Season 2 and Season 1, where Devastator debuted, I kind of got to appreciate Devastator. Devastator was pretty cool. I always imagined that Predaking would be a great matchup for the Dinobots. But in the show, it seems Predaking's rival is more of Skylynx. And the Dinobots really duke it out with Devastator, as seen in that movie. When Optimus gave him the command, Dinobots destroy Devastator, which is pretty cool. So he's the opposite card, the opposite number of the Dinobots, and it makes sense. Big hulking dinosaurs against construction vehicles. And Devastator combines into a pretty cool combiner. He's the only combiner, from my knowledge, who's comprised of 6 rather than 5. And this Studio 86 Devastator looks really awesome. I'm alright with the trailer comprising his thighs and pelvis and lower body. I'm cool with that. Because the final product came out good for me. So overall, I really like this figure. I really like the fact that I was able to get my first mainline Hasbro Devastator, and it's a pretty good figure. It's pretty durable. I kind of wish they could have ratcheted his arms, but it's cool. It looks tight enough. It looks like it'll last long. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the review, and yeah, see you next time.